Good morning, and what a morning it is. We had some serious breaking news yesterday when Trump fired the director of the FBI, James Comey. And this is something that should concern all of us. You may think it's no big deal. How does it affect America? Well, it affects America a lot because President Trump fired the director of the FBI, not because the director of the FBI was necessarily doing anything wrong, but because the director of the FBI was investigating Donald Trump for his ties to Russia. And I know you people are sick and tired of hearing about Russia. Just like Hillary Clinton's supporters were sick of hearing about her fucking emails every 5 minutes. And we're going to have to go back to some history here. We're going to have to go back a long ways where people my age and younger may not have any idea what I'm talking about, which is why you need to know about it. We're going to go back to Watergate and President Nixon, who resigned as president. And what President Nixon did when he was being investigated for wiretapping and lying about it and basically being a crook, he fired the special prosecutor, Archibald Cox, who most of you don't know that name, Archibald Cox. He was a special prosecutor assigned to investigate Watergate and the president. And the president fired him. And people around the president started saying, no, wait a minute. We're going down here. We're not going to go down with you. People are going to go to jail because of what you did. And we're not going to be one of them. And it ended up with President Nixon resigning his office. Now, that part of history is important. Because now we are forward to 2017. And now we have to go just back a small ways to October of 2016, where Donald Trump basically considered James Comey his new best friend. Because James Comey, just a few days before the election, a few weeks before the election, reopened the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. And Trump couldn't have been more thrilled. I love James Comey. I didn't think I liked him, but now I love him. He is my buddy. Thank you, James Comey. And people called Hillary Clinton a sore loser when she said, yeah, it was James Comey's fault. A Democratic appointee who basically reopened an investigation where it turned out there was no there anyway and destroyed her chances to become president by doing this so close to the election, making people think that Hillary Clinton was going to spend most of her presidency testifying before Congress and being under investigation by the FBI. Wow. All of you people who voted for Trump because you didn't want to have your president being investigated by the FBI, oops. Oops. Because your president is being investigated by the FBI. At least he was being investigated by the FBI until he fired the person in charge of the investigation last night. And the reason he said he fired James Comey was because he refused to lock Hillary up. Lock her up. Remember, lock her up. You know who's going to end up getting locked up? It could very well be President Trump. Very intelligent people right now are coming out and saying they question the president's sanity. They question his mental capacity to do this job. They basically think he's going crazy. And by his actions, he's proving them right. In the letter telling James Comey why he was summarily fired with no notice, Trump mentions a lot of things. It was almost like he thought he was on the Twitter. And he says, well, you know, you mishandled Hillary's investigation. You should have prosecuted her. She should be in jail. But then he says, oh, by the way, I do want to thank you for telling me 3 separate times that I'm not being investigated for my campaign's ties to Russia. Everybody talking about this right now says there was no reason to put that into that letter about the Russia thing. But see, that was not a message to James Comey. That was a message to the American people. I'm not being investigated for my ties to Russia. Well, you are, Mr. Trump. You are being investigated. And yeah, you might have just gotten rid of James Comey. But there are a lot of people, especially the Democrats in Congress, who are not going to let this go away. There's lots of history here. You know, Bill Clinton, another Clinton, was almost impeached for cheating on his wife. Make no mistake about it. That's why he was being impeached. Yes, it was the lying about it, but cheating on your wife, lying, kind of goes together. Men who cheat on their wives, who are assholes, bad husbands, they lie about it. They don't go home and say, oh, guess who I fucked today behind your back. They don't do that. That's why Bill Clinton was being investigated. But Bill Clinton didn't fire Ken Starr, the special prosecutor investigating his lying about cheating on his wife, cheating on Hillary. And Hillary forgave him, so why shouldn't the American people forgive him? He was a great president. He really was a good president. He did his job. We can't say the same about Donald Trump because he's not doing his job. He's basically having childish kindergarten playground meltdowns on a daily basis on Twitter. He is firing anybody who he thinks could get to the truth and cause his presidency damage, to uncover all the ways that this election, our first ever if you thought the Bush and Gore election was fixed, this one trumps it. No pun intended. Our election in 2016 was not only interfered with by our deepest, darkest enemy, Russia, but people were playing side poker, you know, your side hand. People were doing things behind closed doors to influence the American public, to scare them away from Hillary and push them toward Trump. And now look what we have. And let's make no other mistake. Let's close our eyes and let's pretend Hillary Clinton is president right now, and everything that has happened in the last 100 and so many days had happened when Hillary Clinton was president. What do you think the Republicans would be screaming right now? Impeach her. She's not fit to be president. Lock her up. It would happen. If you are honest with yourselves, you know that would happen. That if this was Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, you know, if it is legal to fire the FBI director because you don't like the things he's investigating, because he's investigating you or someone you care about, Barack Obama could have fired James Comey when he started making all these waves for Hillary, saying we're reopening this and we found these emails and those emails and Uber Aberdeen and the weird guy Weiner. Yeah, her husband. Obama could have fired him. But how would that have looked? It would have looked pretty bad. Oh, he fired James Comey to protect his buddy Hillary so she becomes president. What do you think Trump just did yesterday? He's getting scared because they're getting close. They're getting close to the campaign and the Trump family and the Trump administration's ties to Russia. And that, yes, for the first time in our history, a foreign country who has been our enemy, who has no love for the United States, interfered in our democratic electoral process. For those of you who told me that I should care about Hillary's emails, I'm now going to tell you, you really need to care about this. You need to care a lot about allowing Russia to choose our president for us by scaring the American public away from voting for and a candidate that Russia was terrified of. Putin was terrified of Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton would not kiss his ass. And I'm not Stephen Colbert, and I can say that on my show. Poor Stephen Colbert might get fired, even though what he actually said on his show was true. Trump and Putin have this relationship. The Trump family has financial connections to Russia. There is no doubt about that. The sons both admitted it back in 2008 and 2009, that they got their money because no American bank would loan the Trump family money. They were a bad risk. They had to go to a Russian bank, Deutsche Bank, which was controlled by the Russians, to get money to keep their businesses afloat. So if you believe that Hillary Clinton committed a crime by using her private email server to send classified emails to people, then you also need to accept the fact that Russia told you who to vote for. When you cast your vote for Trump, Vladimir Putin was saying, Dasha, whatever they say. How do they say thank you? Placebo, possible. Thank you in Russian. He was thanking all of you for falling for their scam. And Putin may not be very happy with Trump right now. He might have also got sold a bill of goods, because to look good in front of the American public and Congress, Trump has to pretend that Russia and the Americans, we don't have a good relationship right now. We have issues, and Trump's going to fix them. But what Putin was really afraid of was a President Clinton. Because when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, she put Putin in his place. She sat him down and she said, no way. There will be sanctions against you. You are not going to invade Crimea and cause trouble in your region. We're not going to allow it. Not on my watch. She put him in his place. She sat him down. A woman, an American woman, put big Ruski Vlad Putin in his place. And he was terrified that when she became president, he was going to lose big. And he needed Trump, his old buddy, who owed him some favors because Deutsche Bank, owned by Russians, controlled by Russians, took care of the Trump family when they needed them. It's a quid pro quo, everybody. The oldest game in the book. So this is something, while we could say, oh, it's wag the dog, and we're not talking about health care anymore. We're not talking about immigration. We're not talking about tax cuts. But when you talk taxes, there is still that little issue of why will Donald Trump not release his tax returns? Guess what's in those tax returns? The names of every single person Donald Trump owes money to, that his companies owe money to. And it's important that we know this, because remember Mikey Flynn, who lost his job because he was susceptible to blackmail, because he had taken money from the Russians, paid speaking engagements and paid consulting engagements? If Donald Trump or the Trump Industries or anything related with the name Trump on it owes money to anyone associated with Russia, that also makes them susceptible for blackmail. It means that Russia can call in the loans, or they can lower the interest on the loans if Trump plays ball with them, gives them what they want in the international playground. And believe me, it is a playground. Trump is basically acting like a 5-year-old at recess who confronts a bully and says, guess what? My daddy's rich. I'm getting you kicked out of school. You don't talk to me like that. I'm Donald Trump. That's what he did to James Comey yesterday. Did Comey make mistakes? Yeah, but not mistakes that required his firing. Here's the other problem, and it's called Jeff Sessions. He is the Attorney General. And again, I need to explain this to you guys because some of you might miss it. The blurbs on the news are short. and not as in-depth as they should be. But Jeff Sessions is the Attorney General of the United States. He is our top lawyer. He is the one who recommended that Comey be fired. But here's the problem. It's the reasons they fired Comey. See, the reasons they fired Comey, which was Hillary Clinton's emails, the Attorney General Sessions recused himself from involvement in those investigations because it was a conflict of interest. He also recused himself from any investigation into Trump's campaign and their brotherhood with Russia, their little friendship, their fraternity going on. If he had recused himself, then he really had no right to recommend Comey's firing over issues that he should not be involved in. And I hope you're understanding my explanation of this, because it's important that you know. It's important that you know that the Department of Justice, the FBI, needs to be free to conduct investigations with no political consequences and no political influence. That's what they are about. And what did we see? We saw Acting Attorney General Sally Yates fired because she said no to Donald Trump and his religious Islam travel ban. And now we've seen Jeff Comey fired because he testified this week to Congress that, yes, there is an investigation into this fraternity with Trump and Putin. They're brothers from another mother. He's gone now. We will see what happens with his replacement. We will see what Congress does. Congress is right now calling for a special prosecutor to be appointed. We are 5 months into President Trump's reign in America. And look where we are. Everything that you people who refused, who were Hillary supporters and switched your vote to Trump, everything that you were afraid of if Hillary got elected is happening right now in front of your very eyes. It's historical and it is tragic. Our country is falling apart. And I remember this, oh gosh, who was it? Nero? Who fiddled while Rome burned? Because he was nuts. He was crazy. I have a feeling Donald Trump will be tweeting as America burns. How terrifying. And how frustrating that we let it happen. We only have ourselves to blame. Those who voted for Trump, you did this. But you can also fix it. You can fix it. I, of all people, do not want a President Pence. Believe me, he is just as scary to me because I'm a woman. And I believe in pro-choice and freedom from religion and gay rights. President Pence would be scary for me with my personal beliefs. But a Twitter-addicted, mentally ill president, that's a lot scarier. A lot scarier. And just a programming note, President Trump is supposed to sit down with Lester Holt on NBC Nightly News tomorrow. There are bets being taken right now in Las Vegas as to whether he will cancel that interview. But Lester Holt is a good reporter, and you know he's going to ask. He's going to ask the tough questions. And we'll see if Twitter-addicted, cowardly Trump, who hides behind his thumbs and his computer screen, will show up for the interview with Lester Holt. I'm betting he won't. There will be some sort of emergency that he has to take care of as president. I don't know. But we'll find out. I know I'll be watching, and I hope you will too. It'll be at 6:30 Eastern Time on NBC Nightly News. We need to be very scared, everybody. Very, very scared. Trump is turning on anybody who questions him, anybody who says no to him, anybody who he sees as a threat to his presidency, and anybody who comes even this close to proving that the Russians actually are the ones who got Trump elected president of the United States. Think about it. You know, you all voted for Trump. Some of you said it was for health care, it was for immigration, it was for safety. How safe do you feel right now? And by the way, have any of you seen your health care premiums go down? Your deductibles come down? Have any of you gotten anything out of Trump that he promised you? I'll tell you something he did promise you that you are getting. Remember in the debates he said if you elect Hillary Clinton, she's going to be so busy defending herself against investigations from the FBI and from Congress that she won't have time to be president? That's a promise he kept. Only problem is, he's the president. Ironic. Political Paula, out.